Welcome to another. We're getting straight into it today. Welcome to another episode of Unscripted Exchanges. I'm excited to be here tonight, Hayden.
Dude, I am pumped. I'm turning up my energy. You saw me before. I was a little bit, low with my energy, but that is now changing now that we're live.
Well, honestly, it's funny because when I got here, for you listeners, Hayden always talked about his DIY projects, and I'm like, oh, cool, you've done a lot of cool stuff. Like, who'd you hire? And I get here, and this dude's out back, and it's freezing cold right now, and he's out back with his earmuffs on, he's got his sweatshirt over, and he's building these gazebo type structures in his backyard, and I'm like, this is legit. I was so impressed. I had to FaceTime my wife to show her. So
you're being too nice, Cole.
He's definitely So just so you guys know, I'm not gonna share his cell phone on here, but you can definitely give him a call. Reach out to Hayden for any DIY projects. But no, I'm glad you're bringing the energy level up a little bit,
dude. I gotta match your energy or come close because I'm not gonna match your energy.
That's because I get through the low, then I have to dial it up.
So I guess you would agree that you feed off the energy of others more times than not? Is that a true statement?
You know what? That's a great thing to actually get into.
Let's do it. That's why
I like that. Yeah, I do. So I actually want to give you this. So we're jumping into I think this is something I learned a few years ago. I heard this analogy, and I was actually I can't remember who I was talking to, but it somehow came across how everybody's wired differently. Mm-hmm. Meaning, again, some people get energy or motivation from certain things, and some people get them from other things, right? Well, I can't remember. I wish I could remember, so I give them a shout out. But they simplified it for me. We were talking about my relationship with my wife, right? Mm-hmm. And how I'm more extroverted and yada yada yada, and she's more introverted
by definition.
By definition. Yeah. But he simplified it into an analogy about a battery. And he said, okay, Cole, you're like a battery and that gets juiced up when you're out interacting with people. Mm-hmm. So when you don't have enough interaction with people, your battery's low. Mm-hmm. So you're feeling more lethargic, you're feeling more down, you're not as motivated, your battery's not full of energy. But when you get out and you interact with people and you socialize and you engage, your battery fills up. So when you got a full battery, that's when you're able, this is psychology kind of stuff. He's that's when you're able to actually go chill out and be by yourself and you have a full battery. So you're feeling great, right? Well, your wife, Amanda, my wife is the opposite. Her battery, so when I do that, I can go then be introverted. So once I've got a full battery, I can go have that alone time, go read a book, right? Well, her battery gets filled up by the opposite. So her battery gets filled up by sitting at home, by not engaging, by not having to talk as much. So when she's had enough alone time, enough time to collect her thoughts, do what she needs to do, not be engaging like me, that's when her battery gets full, and then she can go and engage with others. So it was really interesting because it made me think, you saying that, it's so spot on in my personality. I think we all have a different way of being charged up. And figuring out what that way is so critical to having a balanced daily life. You can live a really fulfilling, balanced life where you're not going through such super highs and lows if you figure out how your battery gets charged. And for me, my battery gets charged from talking to you, from being around people. Yours might be from diving into a home project or reading a book or going and exercising. And then you're able to go out and do that other stuff because you filled your battery up.
Dude, what an analogy.
Isn't that interesting?
Well said, yeah. Are you going to take credit for that?
I mean, I wish I could give a shout out. I can't remember. It was a really deep...
Shout out to Unknown.
Shout out to at Unknown. I mean, it was a really deep conversation, but I think for our listeners, it's something that you guys can all relate to. And I think identifying, for me, I used to struggle with that, with identifying or having a problem with that. Well, why can't I just be alone more? Why can't I? And I realized that that's just who I am. I need to be talking to people. I need to be engaging. That's just the way I'm wired. So when I get that, and when I set myself up for those opportunities, then I'm able to go have more focus in this or have that alone time or go for a hike because I filled my battery up. So people, figure out what fills your battery up.
Yeah, you had one word that really resonated with me, and that was balance. Like you said, there's going to be people that sway more one way than the other, such as yourself. Like, you definitely feed off of the energy of others, whereas myself, I'm more like your wife and definitely fill up my battery in different ways. But it is important to find that right balance in life. Now, you're never going to really get it to be 50-50 per se, but it is important to understand, okay, how can I fill up my battery being around other people? Although, I don't probably excel at it as well as you do, or maybe enjoy it as much. But again, there's times where I need to step out of my comfort zone and be around, large crowds of people and talk with them, and get energy from them. So the point that I wanted to make, or just reiterate, is your call out with having a balanced life and making sure that you understand, one, how do you typically build your energy or feed your battery, as you said? But then two, making sure that you understand, like, how can I find that right balance? And it's definitely not easy, and it's something that's different for each and every individual. But again, just wanted to piggyback onto what you said.
Well, I think you're spot on, because we are all different, and finding that balance. Yes, my recommendation to anybody is, like, stop questioning why you are the way you are and lean into who you are. Meaning, lean into what's going to help you find that balance. Lean into what makes you feel like you're charged up. So if that's, going and being alone for a little bit, or needing to socially distance because you're, I don't mean like in COVID socially distance, but like meaning to like distance yourself and go be alone, or go do something solo, or go for a drive and go shopping, whatever it is. Figure out like what that is and lean into that and embrace that, because what that's going to do is going to charge your battery up. It's going to give you what you need to be able to then go out and put yourself in uncomfortable situations, right? Or uncomfortable things like, hey, if I'm more of an introvert, I need to make sure that I've gotten that time by myself, and now I feel good. Now I can go out and take that leap of faith and make that journey. So I think it's just something I've learned that has been really rewarding for me, in that I've figured out how to accept who I am and accept that that's something I need. It's not a want. That's not I can tough it out. That's not, you know what I mean? It's not like I'm going to work through this. Like, no, I need people. I need to be around people. That's what gets me going. And I accept that. I love that about myself. And so we're all different, but finding that balance, and then leaning into like who you are, and then being able to carry that through other uncomfortable situations, I think is critical.
Live life, be you.
Live life, be you.
That's the motto, man. Love it. I just thought of this as you were talking about that. Do you think that there is a correlation, and stay with me here, a strong correlation, maybe not, with people that are, by definition, more extroverted? Do you think they prefer telling people what they're going to do before they do it, versus an introvert wants to make sure they've done whatever it is before they go out and tell people?
I think it's an age thing. I don't think it has any, I don't know if there's a direct correlation with that, because actually
it's just a random thought too.
Yeah, no, it's a good random thought, because it get my brain running 100 miles an hour, because I think that's a misnomer a little bit, because just because you're extroverted doesn't mean you need to go blast to the world what your plans are.
Right.
You know what I mean? But a lot of people do that, and I think that has to do with, like, who you are as a person, how you, like, what, and what motivates you, because I think some people...
Well, you want engagement from people, probably. Sorry to jump in.
You want some people
to you want to tell.
Support that, and you also, maybe that's motivating for you. Maybe, like, if you go speak it, then, like, that you're going to hold yourself accountable because you already told people about it.
Yep.
Versus, for me, I actually used to do that, and I think we've talked about this. I used to be that extrovert that also did that. And back in December, I remember calling my wife and saying, you know what? I'm done telling everybody what I'm going to do. I want to engage with people, but I don't need to make it all about what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do it because it's good for me. I don't need your approval or your motive. So for me now, I don't really talk about what I'm going to do all that much. I just do it, and I just find other things to talk about. And
So, but before, were you seeking approval?
I think so.
Is that what it was?
I think so. I think I was like, or wanting to have something, maybe a little bit of insecurity of not thinking what I had to say was interesting enough, unless it was like something big, like a big goal, right? It's fun to tell people, well, I got this big goal, but what I've kind of realized over the past 4 or 5 months by making that little effort is that I'm able to like engage in such deeper conversations and also learn more about others, because then it just doesn't go down that rabbit hole of what Cole's doing. It's like, hey, let's talk about what you have going on in your life. Like, I want to hear that. And then you just get so much deeper. And some people might ask you what's going on, but like, to me, I'm just going to go do it. I don't care what you think of it. Like,
that's remarkable to hear. You're growing.
I'm growing, right? Dude, every day.
By definition, or in my opinion, you're growing
every day.
Yeah.
And I think it's just that mindset of, you grow older and you make changes that maybe nobody ever told me, like, you talk too much about what you're going to do, Cole. Nobody ever cared. People probably liked that I did.
Right.
But I cared.
Yeah.
I felt like I was running my mouth too much and not listening enough.
Right. I mean, I'm not going to psychoanalyze you, and you kind of were just describing this, but maybe there was a point in time where you cared a little bit too much about the opinions from other people when you were telling them what you were going to do, whatever it might have been. And the point being, whether or not that's truly the case, like, try not to get too caught up in worrying about the opinions of other people. I know we all want that recognition from human beings or other human beings, but there's going to be times where people just don't agree with what you're setting out to do, what your goals are, and sometimes that's all right. So, like, don't be in your head, I guess is what I'm trying to say, too much worried about, well, if I do this, like, what are people going to react, or how are they going to react, or what are they going to say? Who really cares at the end of the day? I mean, there's definitely some situations where you got to take things into further consideration, but still, 9 out of 10 times, try not to worry about, okay, what is so-and-so going to say if I end up doing this? Like, who cares, right? You're trying to live your own life. If you think it's going to make you a better person, and if it helps other people out too, then by all means, go out and do it,
Well, I think, too, an underlying theme of that is reflecting on, like, why do you feel the need? What's the reason you're sharing that? Like, right? And why did I need to go share what my mission or my goals were? Well, was it A, because I wanted people to think better of me? Is that necessarily the right reason? Right? Is that actually, like, now am I going down this hole of, like, I care too much about what people think? Is it B, I'm sharing it because it's I'm excited about it, and it might impact them, or they might engage with it, and it's coming from a place of love and excitement and true just exhilaration about it. And if you look at that and you say, okay, it's that reason, then share it. But if you're looking at it going, like, my reason's, like, purely, for me at least, I'm looking at it going, why am I sharing? Why do I feel the need to share this? And if it checks off that first box, I don't need to share it. If that's the reason, then I gotta go back in my mind and search my soul and say, hey, why do I even want this? If I only want to share it so people think something of me or have an opinion, then do I really want it? Is it really for me? And the answer might be no. So identifying, like, why you're sharing that information, why you're sharing those goals. We share some goals on here, and we're sharing those goals because, A, I believe in manifestation. We both believe in that, making our goals happen. We want you guys as listeners, our listeners, to know the journey we're on, to know that this is what we're shooting for now.
And we want to inspire and motivate others to
do
their own things in life, build their own company, have their own story. Like, we want to inspire you guys as well. We don't want you guys just to be like, oh, well, Cole and Hayden are awesome people, but, like, what about me? Like, we want you to go out and live your lives. Don't be like us. Have your own story. Be the author.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. So I think for me that touches close to home, because we all go through those phases of life, and I've definitely been checking myself more about why I'm sharing what I'm sharing, and do I need to share it? Like, and what's sharing it gonna do? for me. If I'm sharing it for the wrong reasons, I'm just not going to share it.
Yeah, I like all that. Now, this kind of bleeds into another topic here, but I think it's very related as we talk about show and tell and telling people like sometimes or at times our aspirations, but at times we want to keep things private to ourselves. But what kind of legacy would you like to leave at the end of time?
I was wondering if you were going to throw something like that in there. Legacy.
Or what does legacy mean to you? Because there can be a million different definitions. What does legacy mean to you, and what kind of legacy would you like to leave?
Well, there's so many different like forms of legacy.
Sure.
I guess, right?
Yeah. Maybe I can lead if you
I was
want
about
me
to just throw it back to you because I'm mulling it over a bit.
Yeah, I'm always good at throwing things your way first, which gives
I'm gonna
me
hit it back.
time to think.
Yeah.
And now I'll start. That way you can kind of curate your
You're
thoughts.
batter up.
So a legacy to me is something that you're known for, people remember you by. So a lot of times it's usually when you are no longer physically present on this earth. My mind first goes to, what do you want people to say about you at your funeral? And to me, like, I want to leave a legacy behind that is inspiring and motivates other people to, one, be their authentic selves, and two, go out and live your life. Like I said, you are the author of your own story or your own book. No one has the life that you have. So I want to inspire people through the way that I've lived my life. I want them to be able to reflect and say, okay, if Hayden did it his way, like I want to do things my way, which is fantastic. Like we all have our uniqueness on this earth. So I want to inspire people to live a life that is very authentic. And I also just want people to push beyond their limits or their initial limits, because more times than not, growing up, we're always told that a lot of things are probably not attainable for whatever reason. And I would say it's debatable at least 50% of the time that those quote unquote things could be attainable. It's just mindset and finding a way to push through or a way to overcome those temporary obstacles. Now, it might not be something that you end up achieving right away, but it's something that you're able to unlock one way or another. So I want to inspire people to test their own individual limits. Like that's the type of legacy or things that I want to leave behind at the end of the day. God willingly, I hope I'm here for a lot longer. I mean, I think I'm starting to build that brand for myself and share that with the world, but I still have a long way to go, and I want to learn from others too along the way. But that's what it means to me in terms of what type of legacy and how I want to leave that legacy behind.
No, I love that. I think, the cool part about what I heard you saying, Hayden, is inspiring others. And however you can do that, you want your legacy to have moved people forward in their lives, however that was. And I think it's funny that you brought this up because, we kind of kicked it around right before we jumped on. But I didn't really call it legacy. But the other night I was thinking about how we're 30 episodes in. And
which is crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And awesome.
And the reason I had somebody ask like, hey, tell me about unscripted exchanges. And I gave the kind of the background about how we, knew each other as in grade school and high school, and we got back together, and we both wanted to just add value into this world. And we were looking for a way to do that, get our voices out there. And I thought this to myself, if nothing else comes out of this, we have a biography of our thoughts and our values in a video format and on literally on like a soundbite format.
We have records.
We've got literally records of the way we think, the way we operate, and at the end of the day, like how cool is that when we're dead and gone, like this will still be somewhere. Like this is part of our legacy. Like we are I believe inspiring others to act and move by creating something that can be shared and be preserved. So there's that aspect of legacy where it's in business and reaching out to others. That's huge for me. And I just think it's just so cool that correlates. And then, for me going into like other aspects of legacy, because I think about my daughters, right? My family and my relationships with my friends and my wife and my daughters and my parents and my siblings, all of these people in my life. And I ask myself, and it dictates a lot of the way I go, is what are they going to think of me when I'm gone? Or if I were to die tomorrow, like what did these people, how did I inspire their lives? What did I leave behind in them that is going to push them forward in life? And for me, those relationships are my biggest legacy I'll ever leave behind. No matter how many podcasts we do, no matter how many millions of dollars I make or don't make, no matter how successful my business has become, no matter how many...
All the personal accolades are second.
It's irrelevant to me.
Yeah.
Those are great. They're secondary.
Yeah.
Because what's really, really, really important for me is in my legacy, what hits home and hits my heart really hard and gets my gears turning is the impact I can have on those people that I have relationships with. How can I make sure that how I'm treating them and what I'm doing for them is going to last far beyond when I'm here? And that comes with your daughters, right? Your kids. You've got kids. What are you instilling in them? That maybe they're not going to be 30, 40, 50 years on the line and go, I'm doing this because my dad taught me.
Yep.
But if you see them open a door for a stranger or donate something or go out on a limb to say thank you, and you go, that's my legacy. Like I don't need the accolades for it. I don't need the any of that. It just that inspiration and that impact for me is a huge part of it.
Yeah, I think I forgot an important call out too is being a family man. Like that's something that I want to leave behind too. Right. And I heard you kind of just sharing that yourself. So I think that's really important too. Like all the personal accolades, that's great. But again, that means nothing at the end of the day. To me, what's most important is 1, making the lives of other people better. 2, I want to be remembered as someone that was loving, took care of his family, and helped other people, which is definitely things that you shared as well. Another recent shower thought that I had recently, which is totally related, or at least I think so, to this, is like I would hate passing away and climbing the steps to heaven and God's there to judge me and he's like, oh, Hayden Huber, you're here. And
where's this going?
I know, you're like, where the heck is this guy going? And he's basically like, well, or he pulls out a sheet. I had envisioned you doing X, Y, and Z, and you didn't even do the first thing listed here. To me, that would break my heart. So like, that's why I want to be someone that is constantly learning, trying to motivate others and learning from others. Like that's what gets me going every day. That's how I get up and moving each and every day, even on the days where it's not that easy to do
tough.
so. Yeah, exactly. Like I want to make sure that I am leaving behind a better world, a quote unquote legacy for myself, but in God's name or in God's honor. Like I want to make sure that I'm doing the things that God wanted me to do here on earth.
Well, it's that, I mean, you give me chills when you say stuff like that because it's that feeling again of like knowing that you're impacting people and it's not always in ways you see it, but it's ways that are going to come to fruition later. And I think that thought of, again, coming back to like, it's not about the numbers game. Like you get to heaven's gates and it's like God's going, you inspired these 2 people or this one person, or you were an amazing brother because of this, and this, right? Like that to me, that stuff to me, like it sounds like to you is just like so critical. And that's what legacy to me is, because God's not going to say, hey, how many billions of dollars did you make?
Right.
You know, like, hey, this is great. You can't take it with you. So it's just interesting. And again, like, there is the business aspect of the side of it that's like, yeah, I want to leave, money behind as part of my legacy, but that's not what I'm going to be remembered for. That's not what people are going to go, oh, well, because he left money behind, he was a good person. It's because he made me feel better. He inspired me to go after things I wanted. He inspired, he was a good person to be around. I always felt like he cared. Those are things, if I were to write those are things I want people to say. If I were to write my eulogy, like, whenever I talked to Cole, he seemed like he genuinely cared about me. Whenever I reached out to him, he had a positive attitude and made me feel better about my day. Whenever I came to Cole with a problem, he didn't look at it as a problem. He helped me figure out a solution. If I were to write my eulogy, like, that's what I would want people to say. So how can I live my life to get people to say that when I'm dead and gone?
Dude, you gave me goosebumps, man.
That's what I want.
Yeah, no, I'm loving it, man. This is a very deep and passionate conversation that we're having with you all here. Another just random thought as we were talking about all this is, like, I wonder what God's qualifications or criteria are when he's going through, like, your final judgment. And I wonder if it is, like, how many people did Cole impact in his life, or how many people did Hayden impact in his life? Just, again, a random thought as we were talking.
So I think I love that too. Here's like to add to that. I remember we had this conversation in my men's group about, like, taking action versus just talking about action. Mm-hmm. And I think God's going to be like, who did you impact? Like, maybe it was 2 people, 5 people, but, like, whose lives did you directly impact in a positive way, mm-hmm. and help move them forward, help them to be better? Like, that's what he's going to check off. Not like anything else.
Totally. And I'm sure it wouldn't even be like a strict numbers game where if Cole impacted 100 people and I impacted only 2, one of those people, and again, I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole, but I motivated someone that was in a deep, dark place and they got out of that and ended up being like the president of the United States or something like that. That's where I'm going in terms of, like, well, it's not always equal in terms of who you're impacting, I guess.
Right. Well, right. And it's like, if it's coming from a place of love,
mm-hmm.
like, that's what's important. Like, if it's coming from a place of love and caring, movers and shakers, baby. That's what we are.
Dude, I can't believe how deep we got on this. We had no idea what we were getting into. We're totally unscripted.
Yeah. Well, you got my juices flowing. No, well, legacy is, I mean, this is stuff you think about when you dive down into yourself and when you're trying to get better, you're thinking about your legacy and you're thinking about how you're impacting others. That's not a broad statement. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. If you're trying to move forward in life, now you're not always thinking about how you can impact people in the right way, right? But you're thinking about how you're going to impact others, whether it's for selfish gain or not. You're still thinking about that.
So Cole and I are going to give everyone who's listening some homework. We want to hear from you guys. What type of legacy do you want to leave behind? Let us know in the comments.
Let us know. I love that. Yeah, what do you want to be remembered for?
I mean, wouldn't that be silly if we spent 90% of our life doing things that God didn't want us to do? Again, it's just another random thought as we're talking deep here. Like, we're constantly distracted, and I'll speak for myself. Like, I'm more and more distracted. I'm recognizing it, which is the first step there with technology. Like, we've got these cell phones that we carry around, and we've talked about it on previous episodes. There's, TV, there's all these streaming platforms, and you can constantly watch unlimited content.
Right.
Now, please don't tune away from Cole and I. I want to make sure that we're clear on that. I had to sprinkle that in there. But, like, I guess where I'm going with this is, like, wow, Hayden spent 90% of his life or X% on his life, probably too much, watching something on a device, like, and not being out in the real world. Like, that would be sad.
Right. Well,
I think too many people are doing that today, and I am raising my hand saying that I am doing that probably a little bit too much. So it's like, all right, how do I step out of my comfort zone and make sure that I'm not living on a screen, because the screen is just a digital tool.
Well, it's not real. I mean, it's really it's just a fake way of communicating and engaging. I mean,
Yeah.
it's nice to have and it's good for staying in touch. Like, don't get me wrong, FaceTiming and all that technology, like, that's fantastic, especially when you're like out and about, or you're traveling, or you have family or friends far away. But then there's like that, again, that comes back to that balance of like, are you taking action, or are you just reading about action? Are you engaging with people, or are you just like engaging with your phone? I mean, where do you want to put your energy at?
Well said. Yeah. I mean, again, I don't want what I just said to be taken out of context. Cell phones, TVs for watching, like educational stuff, like that can be very rewarding, but you want to find that healthy balance. Like, you don't want to be turning down opportunities to, go out and socialize with people because you're at home binge watching Netflix. I mean, if you want to do that, you can do that. But like, if you do that all the time, then that's where it's like, maybe you should look at changing some of your habits.
You know what's a gut check for that? Is if you got on the iPhones at least now, like
the time spent or whatever.
You're like, sometimes you just go, oh my word.
Right.
It's like, it says like 3 hours and 45 minutes a day. And it's like,
can I ask what you're at? What would you say you're at?
Probably 3 hours a day.
Really? That's good. What do you think I'm at?
What did it say last time you got it?
I mean, I've only looked at it a couple of times, but it's higher than your number. And maybe it's not like really high, but like, what would you guess that I'm at?
5.
No, I'm not that high. I think I'm at 4 to 4.5.
See, but to me, 3 hours was like super high.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all relative. We're kind of going down a rabbit hole here, but like, we're both, for our personal or for our professional jobs, like, we have to be on our phones.
Right.
And
like, so again,
if you're including that in the 3 or 4 hours,
it's just hard to look at though sometimes when you're just like,
totally. Yeah.
You're like, it's like total screen time. Like,
right.
You were up 37% this week.
Yeah.
You're like, oh.
But that's where my analyst mindset comes into play. Like, if you're up 37% because you were on Facebook or Snapchat, then yeah, that's a problem.
Does it get granular with that?
I think it does. Again, I've only looked a couple of times, so correct me if I'm wrong, folks. I think it does kind of split it out where you can get the percentages by breakdown of apps, or at least certain apps. Whereas, yeah, if you're up 37% because, you were making more conference calls, then that's a different story.
Right. Like, yeah, I guess I never thought about it like that because, I mean, I use my cell phone for like 90%.
That's how you make your bacon, man.
90% of my calls are on my cell phone, yeah.
Totally.
That's how I make my bacon.
You like that?
Yeah, I did like that.
You've heard of that one before, right?
I did.
Good.
I
because
like that.
I was shocked when you said, I've never heard someone use the word, I'm going to noodle on that.
Oh, I got to start
Have you been using that?
No, I got to, though.
Come on now.
I won't use it with you.
That's a reminder.
Okay. Ding, ding, ding. You should just text me every day. Are you noodling, bro?
Dude, I'm on cloud 9 right now talking.
I've been on cloud 9 all night.
You're always on cloud 9 on the show. And not on the show. Dude, that's just who you are, bro.
You got me really fired up. I hope everybody had a great Easter that's listening as well.
Yes. For anyone that celebrates Easter, hope you guys had a wonderful Easter. We had a nice little clip wishing everyone a happy Easter that we were proud to put together. And then for those that are Jewish, celebrating Passover, hopefully you guys are having a nice Passover. I believe that lasts like a week, I think. The only reason why I know that is because I looked it up recently.
Well, my grandpa's Jewish and I don't even know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
we had good intentions wishing you a happy Easter, whether or not you celebrate Easter. I don't know.
Okay, so I have to say this. If you drive by my house, anyone that's listening that drives by my house.
Is there an Easter bunny?
Literally, no. So Ava got markers from the Easter bunny, and they're like washable markers for windows.
Uh-huh.
So we spent like 3 hours yesterday going around and like coloring on windows. So we've got like Easter eggs on our windows and like Happy Easter, like crosses and stuff.
Aww.
Yeah, it says they're washable. So
and now you're worried. Like,
now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I hope they're washable.
I'm sure they'll come.
Yeah, the Easter bunny came. The Easter bunny hit the eggs in a lot of hard places.
Yeah, we should have started with that. Did you guys have a nice Easter?
That was a great Easter.
Yeah.
What about you?
It was good. It was a busy Easter. I mean, I spent time with family for 2 or 3 hours. Grandma hosted. Had the family over, had some family friends over, which was nice. Catching
Oh,
up
here?
with them. No, not here. At my grandma's
Oh,
place.
okay.
But I actually did entertain some people on Friday night before I kicked off my weekend of fun with all the projects out there. But after Easter brunch yesterday, I went back out and was grinding on
Dude,
these
you'll
house
do a good
projects.
job. Yeah, we had we actually hosted at our house.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I cooked on the.
I was looking for my invite, but maybe I got lost.
I thought I sent it.
Yeah, did you send it by pigeon?
Yeah, I actually sent it with a Hogwarts owl. One of those, like the owls. Yeah. My son showed up. I cooked on the. Shout out to Blackstone, by the way. I want them to sponsor us. Blackstone Grill, like Hibachi Grill.
Not sponsored yet.
They're coming. They're coming now.
You like how I threw that in there?
Not yet.
Sponsored yet.
Anybody that doesn't know what a Blackstone is should look at getting them, because I got one for my birthday, and it's basically a hibachi grill. It's got the 2 burners, and it's just a big hot plate basically. But you can do like anything you want. So we did like flank steak. I had some like onions and mushrooms grilling on it. Then I had steamed broccoli, all at the same time.
Dude, you're making me so hungry right now.
It was so good. So I cooked for my whole family. My parents, my brother came in town, and then like my kids, obviously. So we did that. My grandma was over, and then
the whole damn family.
The Easter egg hunt.
Loving it.
Easter egg hunt. It was funny. So like, by the time I woke up, I heard Ava comes in the room. She goes, "Did the Easter egg hunt?" We're like, "Yeah, I think so." And we're like, "You can go downstairs. We'll meet you down there." By the time we got downstairs, she'd already like opened her Easter basket from the Easter bunny and she got all the most of the eggs, she thought. So I'm like trying to like be casual about it, because I was like, first I was a little groggy, and so I was like, "Did you get all the eggs?" And she's like, "Yeah, I got them all, Dad." Well, I'm the one that hit them, right?
Right.
So I'm like walking around going, "Are you sure you got them all?" And I'm trying not to look so obvious that like I know where I put them, but I'm just like kind of like checking like around corners. I'm like peeking behind like pictures. I'm like, "I'm pretty sure you got a few more eggs." She goes, "How do you know where all the eggs are, Dad?" I said, she's like, I'm 28 years old. The Easter Bunny's been coming for a long time. I know how the Easter Bunny thinks, is what I told her.
Dude, that's so smart. You're thinking on your feet quick there, and you're good at doing that.
She's like, "How do you know this?" I'm like, "I know how the Easter Bunny thinks, sweetheart. I've been finding Easter eggs for a long time."
Well, I'm super happy that Ava and you all had a wonderful Easter.
Thank you.
I think we sign off, especially as you were talking about food. I'm getting starving.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm getting starving. That's not even all right term.
I'm a starving Marvin.
Yeah, I'm a starving Marvin. There we go. I can't even speak straight. I'm so hungry right now.
I'm getting a hunger headache. Let's sign off.
Yeah, let's do it. So once again, folks, thank you for tuning in. We can't say thank you enough. We're always grateful for you listeners. Please comment. Let us know what type of legacy you want to leave behind, as we mentioned earlier on in the show. And again, we want to thank our partners out there, being Kevin and Luke Keefe from Patriot Signage. If you guys want a yard sign, please don't hesitate to reach out. We have a few left. And thank you to our super fans for putting signs up in their yards. We do have some exciting guests coming on here in the next month or so please continue to tune in. And we also have some new partnerships that are in the works that we'll be announcing soon. So that's exciting. Cole, anything else that you would add?
Nope. More to come.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.
Bye.